Let's get started in the NFL, where the Houston Texans and the Buffalo Bills made waves this morning, finalizing a trade that moves four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stefon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills to the Houston Texans.
Big trade happening in the AFC involving Stefon Diggs, who is about to enter his 10th season in the NFL, now with his third team, getting traded from the Bills to the Houston Texans.
So the Houston Texans is on the verge of completing one of the quickest rebuilds of all time. Right now, they're in a position of being one of the most complete teams we have in the NFL. And that is crazy to say, because just about 2 seasons ago, this team was finishing at the bottom of their division. And it seems like, though, after that season, something sparked within them, and they decided to make every right decision, whether that be in the draft or in free agency, to get the right pieces and build a competitive team. Now, the entire look of the Texas offense changed when CJ Stroud was drafted, and this impacted the team in a really big way. It got a lot of attention to that team. A lot of receivers wanted to go to the Texans. We see this with people like Tank Dell, who came into that team, who was actually requested by CJ Stroud, and look at how he proved himself in that Texan team. And last year we saw what these guys can do, what Tank Dell and CJ Stroud and even Nico Collins can do when given the opportunity, when put together in a good system. They actually had a draft pick that went kind of under the radar. They drafted Will Anderson Jr., who really took this season by storm. He was one of the top rookies in that draft class because of how good and impressive he is when it comes to rushing the quarterback. Now, all the pieces that the Texans have given to CJ Stroud has obviously led to his success in the NFL, but we also cannot deny the unbelievable talent that this guy has in terms of giving the ball to his receivers and making plays. CJ Stroud is a great quarterback. This is why I think what just happened to the Houston Texans is so huge, because this already great team has decided to go into a trade with no one else but the Buffalo Bills of all teams. All right, the Buffalo Bills were already looking decent. They were already looking like a playoff contender every year. They always lose to the Chiefs or something in playoffs, and they obviously need a receiver like Diggs at their core of their offense. But the Buffalo Bills is going for a rebuild right now, and that's why it seems like they're willing to let their star receiver leave and go to another team, especially a team like the Houston Texans. Now, before we actually get into that part of the video, if you're new to the channel, guys, consider sticking around for the rest of this video and also subbing and liking. All right, without further ado, I'm gonna stop yapping. Let's get right back on track with the content. Now, the reason why trading for someone like Stefon Diggs is huge when it comes to a team like the Houston Texans is because of the amount of variety that a quarterback like CJ Stroud is gonna have. All right, once you give this already talented young QB, he's on a rookie contract, you give him all these people around him, he's still trying to prove himself. This gives CJ Stroud so much more to play with. This gives him all the freedom he needs to express the talent that we know he has. That's why I know, guys, this team is going to be scary next season. Just having someone like Stefon Diggs in your team is one of the scariest things you can have on the field. And then you combine that with the route running of someone like Tank Dell, guys. It's absolutely brutal. This is one of the craziest team, I think, going into the regular season. And this is because this Stefon Diggs trade only really served to complete the offense. The amount of moves that this team has made over the offseason in general has just been crazy, because in addition to having Will Anderson as a DN on their team, they also have the Hunter himself, Danielle Hunter, bro. Danielle Hunter has been signed by the Houston Texans. All right, that's how crazy this team is right now. And y'all thought I was gonna stop there? I'm sure everybody's been keeping up with the news. We even have someone like Joe Mixon. All right, yeah, he's getting a little older, but this team has Joe Mixon as their main running back. You have CJ Stroud throwing the rock. You have Tank Dell going crazy on routes, making people miss. Like, what? You have the stud himself, Will Anderson, Nico Collins making tough catches. Like, everything is going well for this team, and it just doesn't stop there, because the contract that they're giving to Stefon Diggs is actually crazy, because it works for them really well, and it also works with Stefon Diggs surprisingly well as well.
Well, Laura, as part of this deal, Houston essentially tore up the last 3 years of Stefon Diggs' contract, giving him the ability to leave after this season and become a free agent to negotiate yet another long-term deal like the one he got in Minnesota, like the one he got in Buffalo. And now Diggs will be free to leave after this season. And think about it from Houston's standpoint. It got back, in addition to Stefon Diggs, 2 draft picks, one this year, one next year. And if he leaves this year, now they would be in position to get a compensatory draft pick. So they would get yet another draft pick back. And here's the bottom line. It puts Stefon Diggs in position to have a great season this year. He's incentivized to have one of his best years, to become a free agent yet again, to be the best version of himself on and off the field. But we knew about the trade to get him there. Now there's another added component to it, a reworked deal for Stefon Diggs, in which both sides really gain something here. The Texans get the best version of Diggs, and Diggs gets the ability to become a free agent after this season.
I mean, you had it here first, guys. Stefon Diggs and the Texans are obviously going to have a great season. I hope there's no way you can really mess this season up because of how prepared this team is. This team has all the tools needed to compete for anything. They're competing right now for a Super Bowl win. That's how crazy it is. Just 2 years ago, from being at the bottom of your division to within 1 year taking the AFC South. Right now, the sky is the limit for this team because just having CJ Stroud there's so much possibilities. There's so much this team can do. They have so much weapons on the field, so many people to work with, and adding in a veteran receiver with the mix, it just makes everything much more spicy, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about Stefon Diggs going to the Texans. Do you think the Texans is one of the most complete teams in the NFL right now? But without further ado, thank you guys for watching, and peace out, gang.